All right, guys, it's 2021, episode 21. We were thinking about not doing this again, but we got some messages on the side to keep doing what we're doing. So, guys, we are back. My right-hand man, Azza, is not my right-hand man. He's my left-hand man, or over there, left-hand man, what you want to call it. We've got a good young fella in Josiah King. We'll explain all about him later. Well, I have no idea what he's on here, to be fair, but we'll work it out. But we're back. It's all on.
How's that for a clip?
Yeah. Well, we'll sort him out.
Welcome.
You've asked this great young man to come in and you've disrespected him straight away.
This is what it's all about, boys and girls. We're having fun. All right, let's go to Azza first. We're back. We decided that we are going to do this. It's not about the views. It's not we're getting engagement with people, and we got some messages saying that, to keep doing it, so we will. How are you, mate? How you been? And what's it like starting the new year of 2021?
Good start to the year. I'm surprised that people want us back.
I think we make it look good, mate. They feel good about themselves and they watch us on you.
I think what'll help is that we get some eye candy in here. So we started off the year in the right sort of sense of style here with Josiah.
Yeah, don't think they're always going to be this good looking. It's not going to always happen, mate. Trust me. I'm not all this.
Hey, gee whiz.
He's a good looking sort.
No one's going to want to come on here now.
No. You set the bar, right?
You've set the bar. This is your podcast.
Yeah, true. You pay me to come on. He goes, I want to be on the podcast. Yeah, no,
How much did you pay him?
We'll keep that for
all right.
We'll introduce him correctly in a minute. We'll do the right thing. We do love him, but we'll introduce him. But all good, Az? What's been going on?
All good. Back. 2021's rolled around pretty quickly. For me personally, back at work a few weeks now. Basketball, we're back. When did we start back?
22nd of January.
Yeah, that was grading, wasn't it?
Grading
started, yep. So it's been up and down so far for me and my boys, but we'll come out the other side stronger, I'm pretty sure.
Did you do the tournament?
No.
Yeah, okay. Reason why?
We had a few guys still away, so I was reluctant to go in, probably a little bit undone, going into that and just run the risk of injury right on the eve of grading. So, I decided, more or less, it was my decision in the end to hold it up and roll into grading when that started a couple weeks ago. Yeah, so we're 1-1 at the moment, but I'm confident we'll be okay.
One's fine, mate. You're in pool 1, mate, so you still got a long way to go.
Yeah,
exactly. You're still in the yellow. When it's in the yellow still, it means you're still... as long as you're in the pool that says yellow, I'm still in the VC contention, you'll be right, mate. It's all good.
That's it.
When it changes colour, then start getting down yourself, mate.
Yeah. But I've got a good group of guys, 14 going on 15-year-olds. So it's the youngest sort of age group I've coached in a fair few years now. So just getting used to how I need to teach and relay the way I coach and speak to them in practice and in games. I'm very mindful of that because it's different as opposed to, 19, 20-year-old. So I'm enjoying that part of it as well. So learning a little bit about myself again.
Well, Josiah could probably tell you that if I coach well, coach them, I couldn't coach under-18 girls the same way. So nothing changed.
Very true. He knows the demographic he can coach and he'll stick to that.
Yeah. So let's introduce this man.
You introduce him. You know him very well.
So, guys, Josiah King. He played with me at Youth League 2018, 2019 at Geelong Supercats. When I came over in 2018, I think he was iffy about where he was going to play. I knew nothing of him. To be fair, I'd coached against him, but again, not that was in my memory bank. So I really got to know him for the first time. We had a chat. He came down. Very impressed from day one. And then I just got more impressed as each day went by, as each week went by and each year went by. Impressive guy. He was spoken about within the Youth League division. He's a guy that they want to shut down on a regular basis. And he did some good and some amazing things for us. But I enjoyed coaching him. And he sometimes comes down here. So he's going to come down here to train this morning, but he's a bit of a niggling injury. So we thought about, well, if you're down here anyway, jump on the podcast and let's just talk what it's like to be in the his age, where he's at. He's gone from Youth League. He signed NBL 1 last year, but then COVID-19 took that away. So you got that opportunity to step up to the big league, and then that happens. How do you deal with it? What it's like, and just see where it takes us.
Yep.
And what made him come back? How much do you enjoy the 2 seasons with me? But what he wants to talk about, so is you weren't going to play, you came back, and it's been pretty positive ever since. Talk about the progression from day one, getting back into it, and then what it was like to get the opportunity actually just to be selected in the NBL 1 at Geelong, then COVID.
Yeah, sure.
Explain the journey.
Yeah, so I I played youth league, came to Geelong when I was, like 16 or 17, and kind of played a year of 20s, and then went into
So where were we before that?
youth league. I was at Ballerine.
Ballerine Juniors? Yeah, okay.
Grew
Yep.
up in Drysdale as a kid and played Ballerine until under 18s or something like that. I think played 18s, made a granny, and then came over to Geelong when I was 16 or 17, played under 20s, and then went into youth league. Played 2 years at youth league, and then actually went away for a year, took a gap year, and came back. And that's when I started playing for Dads in 18s. Wasn't exactly sure if I wanted to play high level ball again when I came back from my gap year, but rang up Dads and said, look, I'm keen to play, but I wasn't sure how spots would work, how it would look and all that. And decided to come back and just put work in. So thankfully, Daz had transition sports and started playing for youth league in 2018, and just decided to come in every week and put work in and see where I would end up. And it pays off. It paid off a lot. I remember kind of thinking, coming back in, had a preseason, played our first couple of games, and going, it's amazing what you can do when you decide to kind of put your effort into one thing, to come back each week and decide to work hard at something. And how quickly you can kind of find those roots again, and what your skills are and what you're confident in. And for me, coming to transition sports each week, turning up to training, prepared to play hard, made all the difference. And so that was 2018, and had a pretty good season. I don't know, what were your thoughts on that season, Daz?
Well, to be
You
fair,
guys had a brilliant season, didn't you? So you got the
Yeah,
grand
yeah.
final.
so when I think I said, for when Herbie rang me,
Mm.
we knew who you guys were as a team. It's not that I scared you individually; it's just you guys were struggling.
Mm.
So when we played you guys, it was blowouts every time. So not
Oh,
disrespect
talk
to you.
about blowing your own trumpet.
No, I
Jeez.
said simply it was blowouts. When I was
Oh,
coaching.
Unfortunately, it is the truth.
Oh,
It was
jeez.
truth.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's not that I rated them; I just knew where they were at.
Yep.
But I always thought, then there's another team, which I won't say they are. I always thought there's something about them that can be done.
Yep.
Not sure what it is. I think I had an idea, but I didn't go into too much detail because they weren't going to be part of my journey.
Yeah.
So when Herbie rang me, I was like, okay, I didn't see that coming, but now it makes, let's do it.
Yep.
So I had no kinds of their potential. I actually probably undervalued their potential.
Yep.
So when I saw you, as I walk in, and Kai Bolch was struggling, he wasn't going to play. He come in,
Mm.
then you got your Sebs and all your standard players all from originally. Then we had some top ups, especially kids who weren't playing.
Yep.
So we brought 2 in. Oh, first year was 2 in. Sorry, that one was you need to get back on the court, mental health, and another one was my son, but they hadn't played.
Yeah.
So it's not as if we brought these 2 imports in. We brought 2 players in that were had to start all over again.
Yeah.
So it was,
They basically ended up being imports the way they started to play towards the end of the
yeah,
season.
It's just amazing how they turned around.
Yeah.
But the way this group together collectively brought it in, but they had to buy into my system or
Yeah.
my concepts.
Yeah.
And my concept's not normal. My concept's outside the square. And there's times where they'd be going, where are we going with this? And I got that. But then they start to understand where I'm at, what I'm doing, and what we're trying to create.
Mm.
That's what the D days,
Yeah.
which I've done with you as.
Yep.
We've done with these boys 2 years, and we did them every year.
Yeah.
I did it with my girls last weekend.
Yeah. I did it with my boys last weekend too.
Yeah. So the
There you
D days is what turned around. And then year 2, like we went to a semi-final, lost by 6.
Yeah.
And we challenged that team. We beat them by 25 a couple of weeks earlier. And then the year 2,
True.
we got in the grand final again. We got in the grand final.
Yeah.
But my tenor was chosen by me not to continue. I won't go reasons why, because it's a positive conversation today, not negative. So I chose to step away from that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was amazing 2 years. I loved every bit of it. And I think we could have done more together. But unfortunately, things were changing down there, and I didn't want to be part of those changes.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. So what are your thoughts going into 19? Do you agree with what I said though about
Yeah, totally. I think it was a massive change that year, that 2018, with culture and that youth league team, and the players you brought in, and the way you did D-Day, and the way you looked at how are we going to get this team from this place into a new place, kind of into a new into an actual winning mindset. I think that's what we missed. And so coming into 2019, we're a totally different team mentally. And so I think, but at the same time, I think we had a bit of confidence that, well, we know how we can play. And we definitely had chats of, look, we need to maybe train a bit harder, or think about, if we want to get to that grand final standard or win a grand final, we need to kind of up our game. And so I think for me, and looking into that season was a lot about how do we stay focused on the goal? How do we keep pushing harder? And you can probably comment more on that, but I think we had all the talent in that team, but the drive, and from the success we had in previous seasons, the previous season, it was hard for us to stay motivated for that whole season.
So what was the journey? So can you describe a little bit? You don't have to be specific around people or names or anything like that if you felt like that was the issue. But what was the journey? So where were you, and what had to change specifically? What were some of the specific things that had to change
In what year?
in terms of your culture? So where you were
Yeah,
before this knucklehead
sure.
walked through the door.
Yep.
And then probably you had that first year is more or less the transition year. You're
Yeah,
making
sure.
that big change.
It was a shock. It was a shock.
shock treatment.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you have the second year, which is basically the consolidation year, and everything really does probably come together.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But also it could be the downfall year
Yeah.
because, like he's saying, we'll touch on in a minute. Is
No, it's good.
because they went well the first year, they think, well, we are this good. They were the chasers. They're always the sellers
Yeah.
and chasing and trying to compete.
Yeah.
And then they realize, well, hang on, we can compete.
Yeah.
Now teams are chasing us. Sometimes you'll be very careful. You got to maintain a level head.
Of course.
And sometimes that could change. And that's where it's the second year becomes more of a roller coaster, but the final piece becomes more on the outcome of what you started 2 years
Yeah.
prior. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more highs and lows in the second year because the first year it's everything
It's
the
more
same.
or less
It's a
that.
positive. It's a
Yeah,
positive.
it's positives.
It's all
Yeah.
The
positive.
second year is go, hang on, well now we're there.
Mm.
But yeah, sorry, go back
Yeah,
to
I
Aaron's question.
think-
Sorry.
I think as a player and from a mental standpoint, it was about how do we actually keep the mindset of we are one of the best teams in this comp this year or the best team, and kind of actually keeping that we have to train hard. We have to work as hard as we can so we stay there.
Yep.
Instead of we have to train hard because we have to try and get to be one of those teams. It was a totally different mindset. And I think you know, in hindsight, you can always handle things better in different respects. We did very well that season. In hindsight, I mean, we made the grand final and we lost in 2 games, but we played a very good Ballarat team.
Yeah. You did.
And so just a few little things like that. But at the same time, it's hard because it's youth league. You have guys developing. You have guys that aren't going to stay there for very long. You know, they're going to move on. And so credit to Daz and what he did. But I think it would be hard as a coach to go, right, we need buy-in from everyone.
Yep.
And we want to train and we want to look at ourselves as a team that's on top. But at the same time, it's like, this is only going to be here for a season.
Yep.
And so I don't know if you want to comment around that kind of, because, you know, if you have an NBL 1 team and you want to go, this is our goal, but we can have that goal for 3 or 4 years if we want, because players will stick around and you have guys that'll be the core group. But I think it's harder in youth league because you have guys that are getting older. They're going to move on next year, you know.
Well, pathways are hard as not. So in the second year, we end up getting players that were chosen from the NBL 1. So they call them, what do we call them?
What, development players or?
Yeah, or virtually that their
Yeah.
potential to be up and down.
Yes.
That didn't happen, which is the issue I have with pathways.
Mm.
If you create it, make it happen.
Yeah, pathway is such a sensitive,
Yeah.
sensitive subject. It's different depending on where you go, isn't it? I guess. At the
You
end
just
of
go
the
where
day.
has it worked? Like, and I know the highs and lows. You got to remember that you're trying to group with your kids. That you might have you might only have half one weekend, or you might have half one game and the other ones are off playing somewhere else.
Mm.
Or are we training for the whole core, but we might lose this kid, or how we, so
Yeah, it messes with your chemistry a little bit at different
Yeah.
times, and
yeah, and we've got players that maybe I didn't choose,
Mm.
which is hard.
Yeah.
But then what happened was we said, you know what, let's just train everyone the same. Let's take away the, don't think that you're bigger than everyone else, and let's take away that what you might be told as we're a youth league team.
Yeah.
The kid goes up, it's a positive.
Yeah.
But we realized that wasn't going to happen anyway. So we're able to really focus on it. And I think what happened was in the second year, because we were trying to push the pathway, it created a bit of a division without people realizing.
Yeah. And I think credit to Darren is that one of the things you brought in was that when you came to Geelong and when you looked at our youth league team, you said, this isn't about developmental pathways, but this is about right here, right now, and what we want to do with this team. And I think previously from where I sat, it was, we want to do well as a team, but this is a youth league as a pathway. And so we're kind of going to focus on development and how you can grow as individuals and as a team, instead of, no, we actually have a goal that we want to win. And through that, you will develop because you will get a winning mindset.
Yeah, then next year, that hopefully some of you guys will get picked in the, which you did. You got
Yeah,
picked in the NBL
exactly,
1. Wayne Knight got picked in the NBL 1.
Yep.
So the pathway happened naturally because we said, you know what,
Yes.
let's just focus on what we can do.
Yeah.
And let the outside looking in start to pinpoint who's coming through the program.
And that's the thing, right? So you talk about developing that winning mentality. Yeah. The only way you get to that next level of NBL 1, NBL is actually as an individual having that mentality.
Yeah. That's true.
You don't get to those next levels without it.
And
You've got to be an ultimate competitor, really, at the end of the day,
And
because everyone, that roster you're going to go on, everyone wants to play. Everyone's talented. Everyone's got the talent. That's why they're there.
Mm.
So who's going to have that ultimate competitive edge?
It's fine. I'm going to use Josiah as an example because here, and we're pretty open and honest.
Mm.
I remember one time Zai was probably trying to do too much.
Mhm.
We spoke about it. It wasn't a negative, but this is where at one stage, everyone's trying to worry about being seen, not saying Josiah personally, but what are they seeing? What do they think? I need to do more. So when you're trying to do more for someone else, you lose the team concept. Not saying Josiah did that. I'm saying multiple players were doing that because it was becoming, so we just said, you know what? We need to settle this right now.
Mhm.
Park the pathways, accept the team.
Mm.
And that's why year 2 was the hardest.
Mm. Yep.
Then we had more issues. We had a leader going through some personal stuff. We had a massive injury for the player who was already showing confidence, got him back to where he was, got an injury. That was tough for him. And we had some other things going through. We had a new kid coming in from Tasmania. We sat down and had a chat one day, me and him personally, said, work out, you don't understand who I am because you don't know who I am. And what you're seeing is because you don't know what we've done to get here to where we are today. So what you're seeing is not the true reflection of who I am. So to understand me as a coach, we need to catch up. We did that. It was great. I did that with multiple players. I had copies of players to really get understand, well, this is what I'm here for. What you see at times, I'll have to play certain traits. I've got to play that role that sometimes is needed. I might be the directive, the considerate, the compassionate, the guy says non-negotiables, and also let's have some fun.
Mm-hmm.
I've also been the firecracker that gets these guys motivated to continue to do what they do every day, week in, week out. That's hard to do as a coach.
Of course.
But if you're serious about the impact you're trying to have, then we adjust accordingly. You get the results. That's a winning culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
But to get that buy-in, D-Day was 5 hours.
Yeah.
The first one was 4. The second one was 5. So you would have thought the second D-Day would be easier.
Yeah.
A couple of new players in.
Yeah. Some new players, different probably expectations maybe within the group going into that second year.
And those
having to just change the mindset a little bit because now you've gone from the hunter to the hunted a little bit. Does that make sense?
You remember the second year D-Day, the new players going, well, maybe I'm behind in the connections.
Yeah.
Because these guys are flowing through it, but it worked well. But the D-Day didn't really explain for one or two of them who I was as a coach.
Yep.
It was talk. But when we got on the court, sometimes they want to know X and Y's first. Or what? No, let's just get the system done so we can start to pick up on things. So they wanted the outcome now. Let's go through the concept. Let's just see what we can get out of it, and then we'll worry about all the questions answered later. Let's just train. Let's just play. Let's just see what we got.
Yeah,
and then we'll start to worry about all those questions you want to hear. You know, where we set this, where we do that. Yeah. To me, questions. We keep stopping training. Let's just get the momentum going.
Yeah.
And you know what I like? Sometimes they stop you. Just don't worry about the outcome yet. Let's just trust me to just there's things I'm doing for a reason. So we run these drills.
Yeah.
They realize they're layers to another layer to another layer.
Yeah, that's right.
We're doing it.
And I think that's what us guys in the first year actually got to that place of being like, okay, we know what he's doing. We know where he's going to go with this. We know how it's going to work in our system.
Yeah.
But the new players coming in, it's like,
who's this
what
guy?
the heck is going
There's no
on?
train plan. I've
never been in this system before.
Yeah, I've never run a drill again. I said, just
do
I'm
it.
thinking, right? Because that's my game day. I'm just thinking on the game day.
Yeah.
Then Pete, my system, go, I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what the rotation is.
So the assistant coach doesn't know what's going on. You know, it's
I had another layer. I had another layer. Pete goes, I just got the rotations, mate. How are we doing? But Pete worked well with me. Pete understood me.
Yeah. And Pete's a great guy.
Yeah, I'd see far ahead without giving him what that landscape looked like.
Yep.
I want him to go through to learn to be creative and understand, just go through it.
And you're keeping them in the moment there too, aren't you? That's exactly right.
Doesn't mean I'm right or wrong.
No, but there's a different way to do it, and keeping them in the moment. This probably sounded like something that they needed.
Well, I did it with the Werribee Boys. Exactly the same system, the same concept was done with the Werribee Devils as well.
Yeah.
So 4 years, I win them out. For the 4 years, it was the same concept. D-Days, the importance of connection, all that stuff.
Yep.
And guess what? Semi-final first year, grand final second.
Yeah.
For both teams.
Yeah. If only you had one more year.
Well, if club culture was right, I'd be still at the club, mate. I'm back. If the culture's not right, I'm out.
Yeah, well, that's it.
That's my message for both. The culture was wrong, and I don't need to be part of that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I felt like I left the boys and work. I was tired as well and hurting.
Yeah.
But deep down is the direction was wrong. I was frustrated, and we saw the frustrations from me because I was so passionate about the pathways. I started reflecting. I started showing it negatively. I was getting frustrated.
Yeah.
So how was that for you as a player? Knowing that you probably see your coach going through. Obviously, Dad's got his own personal things as well, but actually the frustration that he's just spoke about probably started to come through in the coaching a little bit.
The frustration.
I do remember that period of time where it was like at the end of the season, and a few different guys are moving on, and Daz and I had quite a few chats because for me it was a period of time going, right, I can probably move on as well in my basketball and see where I want to take this thing. So for me personally, I guess in Daz and I's relationship, it was really good because I saw Daz and I would catch up and he would be like, right, you can either go, here or here, this club, whatever decision you want to make. And it just showed me that he wasn't just about the team that I was with, or he didn't just care about me because we did really well the season before and I played under him, but because he wanted me to have a good pathway. And so for me, it was good because it was like, Daz wants me to go somewhere and it doesn't matter if he's not involved directly as my coach. He wants me to have the best outcome. And in the end, it worked out really well. But at the same time, I think the club lost a coach who would have taken youth league to another level. But with so many different moving pieces at that time and everything, it was just something that didn't work. But for me, it worked really well. And I think for Daz and what Transition Sports has become, it was something that happened and worked well.
Sounds like you set him up for success, Daz.
Oh yeah, but he put
obviously he's done the work.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you've helped mold that mindset,
Like,
I guess.
created a
Set a
space
bit
for
of
that.
direction.
the conductor of the auction, mate. You just give them guidance and think, but they're playing their own tune. They're doing their own, homework. These kids who put that time in, I'll give more. I'll give them all of me if they give me all of them for the right reasons.
And I think just reflecting on even before how we were talking about structure and drills and how our team was set up. I remember coming into that 2018 season, even not playing like Big V or anything the year before from being away. Daz had this great way of knowing what your skills were on the court, setting up a structure, but then going, okay, you can, if you play that way and you play within the structure a little bit, then you can go do what you want to do. And it worked really well because everyone knew how to play. And that's so hard to do in a pathways system, because you want guys to develop, you want guys to be disciplined in areas, but also the freedom to go, okay, you're good at this thing. I want to give you freedom to do that in this structure. And that's why I think we played so well and we started to actually see people could just play the way they wanted to play, but it was also help the team. It was a really good team environment. The culture was well. And I think that's why it set us up for success, because you knew who could do what.
Well, and not because of me, but the concept we do is also, it means you're getting scouted. So we've got everyone scoring. So if Giles King has a bad day, that's okay. And Max Koss will just nail it, or JB shoots it, or Wayne Nike kicks it. If they're down, someone else stepped up. I remember, I think it was Lukey Boy against Croatia, shot 14 in the last half. He was coming off the bench. So we still won. We had players that would just come out of nowhere. Someone would shoot 20 one week and then they might shoot 5, but someone else shot 20. And we're getting 5 players in the double digits every week. Can you try and scout that?
And it gave players the ability to work on other parts of their game. So if you're someone who can score the ball well, but you're not having a good week, then if you go get, 5 to 8 rebounds that game and you get 5 assists and a couple of steals or something, then that means you're developing that part of your game because someone else can make those buckets.
That's why that was supposed to be you, Azza. We've discussed this many times about the role play of 1 to 5 man. I'm not against it, but what I try and do, I've got a group of girls now who I've given a green light. They keep turning it red by choice. So they won't take the shot. They wouldn't take the dribble drive because they've been too regimented in robotic structure. I must pass right. I must screen left. I must do X, Y, Z. And we're missing the moment of, well, now they're playing on a shot clock. We're based on the shot clock. So the more time we waste, the more passes we're in we are, the more struggle we cause either an arm force turnover or a rush shot. And they get a quick transition turnover and they score. So I like to see everyone have a bit more of a green light within the structure.
I
would be very careful. Like, okay, I know that the offense could go on that way, but you took a dribble attack. Okay, I'll take that. But I'd like to know why they did that.
You got to know why.
And if it made sense, okay, fine. If it didn't, we discuss it.
Of course. I
might say, I was like, come off. Let's just have a chat. What's going on? Where you at? I remember one time I took a kid into a change room. Wayne. Because he just so I took him in the change room and let the game just keep going because my focus was on him now. The team can just carry on, but you want to give them a chance to realize that they can go on that court, play the game they love. We got kitchen robotic concepts, but I just think that green light. Only some kids will get the opportunity to have that, and some kids have never had the opportunity to have that.
To develop that, develop that mindset. That was one thing for me that I learned coming in was like, no, you actually have a green. If you have a shot or you have a drive or you think you can get there, you should do it.
I'll take you off if you don't shoot it.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't get you open for you to say, well, I'm not going to shoot it. No, I'll take you off.
That's it.
It's back to mine. But fine, if you shoot 10 shots and miss 10 and don't take number 11, I'm taking you off.
Yeah, fair enough.
because the momentum. And if I get you better for that game, well, then we can be better for the game after.
Mm.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're coaching that mindset, not just for then and there,
So
going forward.
maybe I've got kids coming to TS now saying, I've been told I'm not allowed to shoot. I've been told I can't dribble drive.
How old are these kids? What are you
We're-
talking
we're
about?
talking juniors.
Mm.
Getting told what they can't do. They're not allowed to. Or one team, okay, they did a 3-point drill. Okay, because she's a 3-point shooter for the year. She's our main 3-ball shooter.
Yeah.
People are getting told that they're not allowed to do certain parts within the game. There should be an all-purpose game.
Yeah.
If you're open, you're open.
Especially with the game, the way the game is developing these days, when you've got people who can shoot 1 through 5 from the 3-point, or they can dribble drive. You know, it's becoming a game where you can have the skills to be in any position, and score or play any role. And if you've got people being taught at 13, 14, you can't shoot that shot, or you can't make that draw, or whatever. If you can't do something, then if they take that negatively and don't work on that for 2 or 3 years, then they're 17 and they haven't developed that part of their game.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Well, I've got some players coming here now, 17, 18, who've been taught that way and just don't know what they're allowed to do anymore. So it's like we're ready to train the mindset.
Yeah.
We had
reset.
a young kid, and our team won the VC. He's probably one of the best players in Australia at the time. So he was as strong as a 5-man, athletic, and run. So we used to get him to run the first part of the point or be the first cut because the big couldn't guard him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when he'd blow up part of a quarter, and then would say sacrifice yourself, which he would, he'd create the double team to open someone else up.
Mm.
So they had to keep adjusting their
Yeah,
defense.
yeah.
Then he'd open up again.
Yeah.
But we had players everywhere. So because I'm still teaching kids to shoot.
Yeah.
So our
That's it.
drills at Super, everyone's shooting 3. We're shooting, we're moving. We're all doing the same drills.
Mm.
I didn't say, hey, can you 2 guys go down there and work on
Yeah.
this? Can you 2
That's
guys go
right.
down there and do that?
No, that's critical.
We're all
You-
being, because I could lose him, I could lose him.
Yeah.
So we become a pretty good, not better than us, but because they'll just that one step
they're
above
probably
us.
just a little bit more mature in terms of their
Yeah.
physicality
But if you
from what
see-
I saw.
Yeah, but if you saw what we did against Casey the week before,
Yeah.
we were torn Ballarat upside down.
Yeah.
Mm.
That third quarter was 4 points at half time. We're up by 30 at 3-quarter time
Yeah. Yeah.
because the way they shot the ball, everyone shot the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't rely on him, or he was injured, so he was more inside entries.
Mm.
We're just testing his injury, and JB hits, Wayne hits.
I think that was the first game of the granny. I think first game about in Geelong.
what?
That's when I was injured.
Yeah, no, we tested you in the Casey game.
Was it the Casey game?
Yeah, test you at the we tested you at the Casey game.
Yeah, right.
Oh, didn't we?
No, I thought it was the first week. I thought
Oh,
it was
maybe
game
it was.
one.
Oh, okay, maybe it was. Okay, we didn't have.
Because
you.
I don't. Yeah, I remember Casey was a good game. Like we played.
So did
really
we have
well
you
as a
against
team.
Casey?
Yeah,
Okay, there you go.
it was
So-
the training the week after.
Yeah, okay. So,
Yeah.
but it just gives opportunity. So you know,
Yeah.
if someone's
Yeah.
misfiring, but your thoughts, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts.
Yeah, like,
With
do you see a lot of over robotic structures right now?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I think probably coming out of the we'll call it the gap year. It's been a gap year for everyone. I think a lot of coaches had a lot of ideas
Mm.
whilst they've been sitting on the side and formulating different ideas, and it's probably gotten a little too regimented and probably information overload. So I think some of the kids, from what I've seen in different games and different practices, it's sort of translated across that way from coaches at the moment. Yeah, most definitely. And I think the most important thing coming out of this gap year is just getting the kids back, like Josiah was just saying, get them shooting the ball, teach them all the same sort of things and skills, give them the green light, like you said, have them back enjoying the game again. That's what we want.
And then and over
that's
weeks,
right.
tune
No?
it. Tune it up.
Yeah. I mean, I did the D-Day with my team this past week. And I went into it, I didn't have a preconceived idea, right? But I just thought, 14-year-olds going on 15, how much has COVID really had an impact as opposed to, an adult like yourself, an adult like me, a young man here like Josiah, probably experienced the full brunt of it, he's at a critical part in his semi-professional career right now.
And we'll
Um,
go back to that too about that.
Yeah. And so I've got these young kids, right, that have missed basically their bottom age year of 16s. And so they've come out of 14s, essentially missed a year. So it's been a huge part of their development that they've
Yeah.
sort of had stopped. So there's still some things that are happening within practices in games. You go, gee, I wasn't really expecting that. But anyway, in relation to COVID, actually just hearing their stories around what they went through over the past 12 months, being at home, their families, some of the things is just absolutely surprised me around some of the struggles that they've had and the way they were so perceptive to what was happening inside their own family as a 14-year-old, you know? So I think if you're listening out there, don't undervalue or underestimate how much the past year has had an impact on these guys, no matter the age.
Yeah.
Because children and young kids, young teenagers are very perceptive around what's going on around them. Make no mistake about that. So that's been the thing that's really opened up my eyes over the past week.
I agree.
You're looking at me like,
No, I'm thinking so much into depth what you're thinking that I
and it
shouldn't
was
say
great that they opened up that
Yeah.
way too.
I shouldn't say I'm about to say it. Well, I know if I'm going to say it wrong.
Mm.
That's what really frustrates me. Not with you. I'm talking about how people don't see that the kids hurt just as much as we did.
Mm.
We haven't what we went through as adults and parents and financial whatever. We just think the kids didn't see it, or they must have slept through it because
Yeah.
expectations, the demands. My kid was doing this. They weren't doing their X, Y. Well, I don't expect them to have done anything in COVID because we're all lost and we lost that. We promised a finish line to get moved out the way, and that was hurting. That was now. Why would I train more when I don't know what I'm training for anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can always say you could have done more, but what was I training for? It was just so unknown.
Yeah.
Then we lost our social. So what we always say is
Yeah.
if we're physically we're struggling, we're socially struggling, we're mentally struggling.
Mm.
Why don't we talk about that more and more and deal with it?
Yeah.
D-Day, I like to say that I started the D-Day concept for the reasons, but why don't we do more of those concepts?
That's it.
And you doing it makes me feel like warm and fuzzy because
Mm.
why do you continue to do it?
Oh, for me, and again, this is a criticism myself. I want to make sure I maintain that connectivity with my team because ultimately I'm responsible for how they will develop through the year.
Mm.
So if I'm missing that connectivity with 2 or 3 guys, the team's going to develop in a very disjointed sort of way. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so it's on me. The buck stops with me at the end of the day in that regard, and get their buy-in and get them to invest in their development with me and trust me to help drive.
Drive
that
that's
with
the thing, right?
Yeah.
And Zoe, you're saying you jump in whenever, right?
Yeah.
Because of D-Day. The thing about D-Day, it's not also just about you understanding your players, right?
No, they understand me too as
how
a
do
person.
They, how do they learn to trust you because you open up? You want them to open up to you.
Yep.
So you want to understand them. They need to understand you. You want to know their story. They want to know your story.
Yeah.
If you want them to adapt, they need you to adapt.
Yeah. That's right.
And I don't want to hear that the coach at the gym, whatever I say goes. No, because there's a lot of people still doing that.
Yep.
Yes, I think that the coach has the final say. Yes, I think you'd be a bit more thing. And it's not like, let's just all pat everyone on the shoulder and say kumbaya and it's all happy days.
No, it's not that. Put your phone on silent, please.
That's my daughter. I need to ring urgently. Hey, Jamie, you're on podcast. Don't say anything too bad. Can I ring you back in about 15, 20 minutes, babe? You there?
You probably got
Put it on speaker. Oh.
I'll ring you back. Sorry, guys. My Bluetooth is on.
Sorry, Jamie.
She bought a car. We've organised insurance for her, and I'm picking it up for her. And I need her to do something for me urgently. So Bluetooth is off. My apologies. Love you, Jamie. Good job.
Sorry, Jamie.
We don't stop for no one. It just continues and rolls.
This is like one of those classic drills where I'm
just
working hard. No,
and then he's just thrown an absolute curveball in there.
Sometimes I walk off the court and just get sidetracked. And Pete's going, what are you doing? No. And I say to him, adapt. That's a common trait. So my point is, and Joy, and we'll jump in, is D-Day is just not more about understanding the players, as you said.
Mm.
They've got to know who you are.
Yeah.
So they've got to know that if you've got stuff that you're going through and you're coming in a different mindset, they've got to know, hey, I understand. Like me, I've got a condition.
Mm.
And you saw me when I was down and out times, and I'm coming in trying to be who I am. I'm trying to maintain focus. I'm trying to have a facade. I'm trying to run, and I've got a lot going on. I'm hurt. I'm crippled, but I still try. But they knew that there's times where he's not himself.
Yep.
Mm.
There's times where I just step back and say, guys, I'm just struggling today.
Mm-hmm.
But they knew that.
Mm.
And I remember after the Ballarat game, the last game, I broke down. I said, guys, I'm not upset with you guys losing. I'm just tired. I was done.
You've given everything.
I was just tired. I said, please, I'm not disappointed. Remember that?
And I think throughout, I think it was the second season, I remember guys being vulnerable, like in the locker room and stuff before games because Daz was able to go, well, this is what's happening in my life and I'm not really ashamed of it. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And that gave like leaders in our team the ability before games to be like, this is what's happened this week and I'm actually not coping.
Yeah.
And that actually helped us as a team to come together more and we'd go out in that game and play well because everyone's like, all right, I've got my brother next to me.
Yep.
So that vulnerability through the team actually helped us on the court and off the court.
Yeah,
that's
great.
He won't mind if we spoke about it because he was here yesterday.
Mm.
Is good lead. He was struggling. I remember one time I actually walked away off the training track to speak to him for an hour and a half. Right, so train keep going, but I know when I'm going to focus on the priority. 2 weeks later, I think we're going to change. I think we lost. I'm sitting there. I said, "You need to speak up, mate.
Mm.
We know what you're going through, but you need to let it out. I know what you're going through, but the team needs to know because your leadership is not going to be the true leadership that they deserve and what I know you can offer.
Yeah.
Or we might need to sit him out for a couple of weeks,
Mm-hmm.
not because he's not good enough. I just think he might needed that space. So we all went around. Everyone's speaking up, and we got to him, and he was just sitting. You can just see it. You just see it. And he's trying to be this. He's trying to hold strong, and things not need to. But then he opened up.
Yeah.
And I said, mate, we're not going to leave this change room until you express on what you're going through, and we need to hear it. And once you've done that, things will change. I was being hard on it too, by the way.
Mm.
He did it.
Yeah.
Think of a heavy weighted pool, emptied out. How light does that structure become?
Mm.
He was amazing after that.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Still had issues.
Yeah.
Issues. He was going through some stuff that.
But now he's got the support.
Oh, it was amazing. Do you remember that moment?
Mm.
It was amazing. And
Yeah, it's powerful. Powerful, that sort of stuff, isn't it?
you don't do that,
100%.
mate. You can't just say, "Okay, game's over, go home."
Mm.
Deal with that yourself. You got to walk back into a safe haven, knowing that, hey, I am having a bad day. Can you let me give it all I can give? So I always say, I'll go back to the old thing. If you're going to give me 60% today, and I know why, please just give me 100% of that 60%.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's right.
So D-Day is crucial.
Mm.
Do you think more people should be a part of that,
More people.
or more
with-
teams should do that?
more teams should do it, definitely. I don't know what you mean by more people.
Yeah,
I don't know if you want
it's medication, mate. I'm
everyone.
all right shot right now. I think it should be done. I think it should be a more common thing. I don't mean D-Day into its degree. Just sit down, get to know them.
Yeah.
Express two ways:
Yep.
who you are, who they are. What's your outside? What's the outside influences? This is the inner sanctum. The outer sanctum does impact your inner sanctum.
Mm.
How can we help deflect that with you?
Yep.
How do we help support that? How do we protect you from that? And we can maintain that team unity.
I think as well, after what Aaron was saying, after the gap year,
Yep.
this is a place where they actually feel like after a year of kind of being isolated or whatever you want to call it,
Mm.
you're in a community now and you're in a culture where if you make that clear on D-Day that this is the community you want to be in and we want to help you and we want to help you move forward. So then it's not just about the game, but it actually the team and the game will improve as you get to know your players and as you say, look, this is just a community that you're a part of now.
Yep.
And we want you to feel safe in this and like you're a part of this, and that's going to correlate to on and off the court, I think.
Well, when that one he broke down, the leadership, 2 weeks prior, I had chat to him. He was showing that, I'm not saying he was, perspective view, outside in, he was being arrogant on the train track, cutting corners, looked like he was half-hearted, dropped his head, and looked like it was all about him. I knew he was going through some stuff. But I said, that's how it looks. Now, if we didn't know what we knew, we would have judged him on how it looks.
Yeah.
Mm.
So if his teammates didn't know that,
Yeah.
what would they have thought?
No, they just think what's going on with this guy? He's not putting in.
Yeah, so when we say give me more effort, or you're being lazy, no, this kid's being lazy. This kid, it's not laziness. That's a struggle streak.
Yeah.
You know the difference between
Yeah.
this one is just cheating the system and cutting
Yeah.
corners, and so we drive that, we get on top of that, and you make them accountable for that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But then another player is showing the same traits.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they're being lazy. They're in struggle streak.
Mm.
If you can identify that and your
Mm.
teammates understand that, that player will get out of struggle streak easier, or we can help them through that for that week, and we get a better version of that player next week.
Yep.
That's why the other players will step up. That's why we don't want robotic players, because if my number one player, if we have one number one player, he's down and out, okay, 2, 3, we'll step up.
Yeah.
It's a change. It's just
Yeah.
it'll just evolve.
Exactly right.
That's my purpose.
Yeah.
That's what it should be about.
Yeah. So, question for you, my legend.
Mm.
You made NBL 1, which would have been an amazing experience. COVID-19 said no, stuff you.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the opportunity.
Yeah.
How'd you feel?
Yeah, look, in all honesty, I had a good preseason. Felt
Yep.
confident, felt like I was in the system well and knew all of the players well and how our structure was going to look and fit well into it.
Sorry, can I pause you 1 second?
Yes.
Did you feel good because you knew that you had now been identified as the future of the program, where a couple of years prior you didn't know where you stood?
That's right. Yeah, that's a good point.
In a sense, yes. And in another sense as well, it was, I knew, and this is credit to you as well, Daz, that I was able to be put in a position, in a spot, and say, this is the structure. If you can play well at this role, then you'll be one of the players that can actually work in this structure. And so that was probably one of the reasons I was like, okay, I feel confident in this because I know I can play this role. And that would have come through youth league development, all that type of stuff. But yeah, it was tough in terms of COVID coming up and ISO, and then being told, yeah, no training, no season, all of that stuff. And it was an interesting year. I'd say for me, it wasn't a bad year. It was a year where I got to develop other stuff. But then at the same time, coming back into this year and kind of, we've got different teammates, new team. It's a totally different timeline, all that type of stuff. It's been interesting getting back into it. Not the same as last year.
Mm-hmm.
Bit of a slower development, bit of slower getting the body ready, clearly, all that type of stuff. And so it was an annoying year, not being able to play. And also the fact, like, you just have the thought, like, I'm 23 now. I kind of missed out on a season where I could have developed, where I could have felt more comfortable in the team, more in the structure, known where I sit in it and what this year would have looked like. But now it's kind of start the whole rookie year again.
That's the thing. It's a 2-year rookie. It's a 2-year rookie year.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what it is. So
Big mental battle.
Yeah, so and he should, but say he wasn't going to get minimum. It's a rookie. He was going to get minimum minutes, say, for example.
Yeah.
So he got no minutes. Year 2, minimum minutes. That becomes a big
Affects
battle.
year 3.
And that makes it hard. So I know I'm working hard for something, but I'm getting older.
Yeah.
His life's changing.
Mm-hmm.
He's at that age where, I'm not saying married or kid, I'm just saying that there is a chance of, I'm looking at my pathways in my life, work-wise. Yeah. He's got some, I'm amazed by what he does personally, on how he helps people and what he does and what he stands for. That's another thing he's doing. It's like his own little project where he's developing himself for. So he's at that age now where, well, do I go for that second rookie year and potentially not know where my third year is going to be? That's 2 years. That's 2 years ahead.
Yep.
Have I got the mindset and the ability to maintain focus on that when I'm also trying to navigate my way through life?
Yeah, well, that's right.
When you say, well, I need to focus on either or, I can still do both. But one could be mental anguish because I'm there, but I'm not there. And I'm getting it?
Yeah, totally. It's definitely it's been a developing thing, I guess, probably over the last month or two, that you kind of have to put aside those thoughts and kind of that, I'm 23, should I keep putting 100% into this? Because, I might be stuck here, or I might not get to the place I want to because I haven't had the time to develop or the time to get into the position I want to. But at the same time, it's like, I'm in this position for a reason. I'm here. I can still play at this level. And if I work hard, I've seen, like I saw in youth league, you can fast track your progression depending on how hard you can work, and you can be put in that position. Whether or not I got to play for a year, I can still be in the position I want to next year, the year after, depending on how hard I work for it.
That's right.
And then it's also comes down, coaching stuff is great.
Yeah.
This NBL 1 team, and they say, if you're willing to work hard and you fit in the system, and you're willing to do what you can to fit into the system, then you get a chance. And so that also gives you the confidence to go, if I work hard at this, I can still be in that spot I wanted to be, even though last year wasn't the year that I wanted it to be.
That's a great mindset to have. And I said,
his mindset's amazing, mate. Like,
I love it.
I don't think there's any negative in his body. And we had one now. I just question about everything, right? He just sits and goes, Daz, I love you the way you ask questions. I'm intrigued. He's always positive, mate.
He's just being
trying
nice.
to be.
I just see the world differently, mate.
But it's a great mindset to have. So he obviously knows, Josiah knows that if he puts in a crazy amount of work, he's willing to push himself there. This past year doesn't become his excuse.
Correct.
And we said something similar within our group, because everyone's had that.
No one's missed out. No one missed out on COVID.
No one's really missed out.
Yeah, that's right.
The only part where you miss out is actually down to you.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
And now everyone has their own battles that have come along with it, and how you've been able to work through your battles and stay, I guess, focused or engaged, or think about doing things differently or a different way. But don't let it be your excuse, I guess.
No, and if you didn't do anything in COVID for whatever reason, we'll say, okay, It doesn't mean you hang on to that.
That's right.
What you didn't do yesterday doesn't mean that you're going to do today.
Mm.
My yesterday is not my tomorrow,
That's right. Yeah.
which is the project we're working on. He's got to go soon, I think. What's on got to go?
Yeah. Very soon, I think.
Yeah, we've got a bit of time.
It's all about design. Mate. See, positive but negative.
It's
You've
always
gotta go.
about the guest.
That's
Come on. Hey, give him a bit of
Got
a
time,
break,
got
will
time.
you?
So, at the end of the days, I'll promise you now, I'll fill the void that you need to get yourself to that level.
Mm.
So you have a great people looking at overseeing you. Those little missing pieces that you need help with, I'll promise you that I'll always say that to you. I'll still be by your side, and anyone who's been part of my life, I'll always offer that support where I can.
Mm.
And just know that phone call, if it's train, if it's phone call, it doesn't matter. That door's always open.
And I appreciate it. And that's why I rang you this week, Daz. It's been a year or two. Over a year at least. It must have been like 18 months or something like that since our season. And so I haven't trained here since then, but I knew I'd call you up and you'd hoping that you'd be like, yeah, come in, just use my court and let me yell at you.
Yeah. One of these.
I'm here.
I'll have my erratic behaviour and not take it on him. That's the thing about us. It's not because I haven't spoken to him. Doesn't mean I don't think about him. Doesn't mean I'm not caring about him. If they ring me, I'm there. It's a connection that's everlasting.
Yeah, that's it.
And I'm always one of those guys with mates. You know, if I don't see you for 6 months, mate, it's not personal.
No.
We got our own little directions. Yeah. If our last event wasn't a falling out, the connection stays the same.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we lead busy lives. Being a coach is so involved, and things evolve at different ways.
You got family, you got commitments. You got my work is so regular with the shift, with the hours. I don't know if I'm coming or going.
Yeah,
and don't think I don't care about you, but I'm just trying to maintain availability for my family, let alone everyone else.
Yep.
Too busy doing podcasts.
I love the podcast. Well, we haven't done it for a while. So actually, we're doing just so you know, we're going to do a Transition Sports one, me and Joey. So we're going to do a weekly segment.
That'd be great.
I've just got to explain, reach out to them and work out what's the format. But it's going to be, key points of emphasis or thoughts of the week or whatever, or what they're going through. So that's just so you know, we are going to do a tier segment from Adelaide to Melbourne, and we'll maintain this one. So as our thoughts on anything and everything, conversation, what we're doing, where we're at, how you feel?
Well, first, thanks for Josiah for coming in, legend.
Pleasure.
I think some great things that we spoke about, but again, don't let this gap year be your excuse. I think that's something that's come out of it, and it's something that my group's spoken about. I'm sure your group may have touched on.
To be fair, I don't discuss it.
Oh, well, that's fair enough.
Oh,
well, everyone's different as well, but I think
what we can do now.
Yeah, but if you're a young athlete out there, like Josiah said, if you really want something, you got to put in the miles, the effort, and organize your life to really push through.
And
push through.
Yeah. One thing I was going to say about that is, for me, coming back, it can be hard to stay motivated over a period of time to keep working hard. But I knew, like, if you're a young athlete, if you're 14, 15 and you want to work hard, but it's all about hours and consistency. And so I knew, right, I know that if I say to Daz this week, I want to train on Friday, we work out a time and I just book that in. Yep. If I do that every week, then I know that even if I don't feel like it on the day, I've made that commitment and I have to turn up. And that means I get work in that day.
Yep.
And so, because I think for young athletes, a lot of it's like you need to put in the work and work really hard, and you need to be determined the whole time, and you have to have the right mindset. But honestly, I think half of it is consistency. So find a coach, find someone who is going to keep you accountable, find someone that's going to help you get there. And so, like, that's why I knew I could train for a whole year once or twice a week with Daz, is because I said to him, this is where I want to be. And sometimes along that journey, you're not going to feel like you want to work hard or you want to be in that place. And so what helped me was going, right, I'm accountable to this. I want to work hard this week because this is my goal. And so I'd encourage anyone who's wanting to work hard but finding it hard to be consistent or stay motivated, find someone to train with, find someone to coach you individually, because they're going to help you and they want to help you get there. Just find that person, because
that's great.
This is like me being an NBL 1, actually having this opportunity as a rookie. It actually came because I was prepared to go, I want to work hard. Even if I don't feel like it some weeks, I'm going to put in the effort. And all those little steps add up to getting to
You also embrace messages, not that the messages were always right. You embrace information and then you calculate and formulate that's going to suit you.
Yes, sure. Yeah.
So you patient. Another thing, just to highlight a couple of things, if you haven't got a coach, find a person you'll train with that's going to make you accountable.
Yeah.
So if you know that your teammate's shooting lazy, say, hold your form. If you know that they're cutting corners on the dribble drop, be accountable. Don't just train. And if you train for an hour, it doesn't mean you trained well.
Yeah, that's right.
Just because you worked hard doesn't mean you trained well. So the actual thing is, I look at is, if you could give me a valuable 20 minutes, it's more than just give me an hour of whatever.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Value every minute or every second of your training. You know, so you might say, I'm going to work hard today, but then Josiah might come down and say, okay, we're working hard, but hang on, there's a flaw here.
Yeah.
So now we're going to change the training. The key point of emphasis will be this, because if you keep training the way you're training, that habit is going to create another habit, which means we're going to have to now undo a lot of training for your hour of hard work that you trained. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And people don't see that.
No.
Like just because we, you know, 3-man weeks, how lazy, but warm-ups, half-hearted. No, a warm-up is a skill drill. It's just more slower to get your body warmed up. You watch people do their warm-ups. Fancy. Is that what you're going to do in a game?
No, that's right.
First shot they take is a 3-ball. Okay, that doesn't make sense. Just understand the value. So if that's shooting, find your form, find your range, then start being accountable for your missing mates. There's a whole lot of each training that just because you work hard, it doesn't mean you trained well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about that's where the
Value.
enjoyable part came in for me is going, I want to improve as a player. And I knew that someone like Daz isn't going to just make me work hard until it kind of all comes together. But it's like, right, this part of your game needs working on. So let's just focus on that. And for me, going, I can challenge myself to grow in this area because I know it's going to correlate to the court. And I know it's going to correlate to a game where it's actually going to help me to make a move and go, the only reason I can make that move is because I worked on it last week. And so for me, it was enjoyable to see that progression and to actually see this, when you put the work in, it actually, you can see it physically on game day. You can see it physically down the track.
So that's where you got to know when you need energy training, when you need technical training, and when you need both.
Yes.
So like teams, if you got beaten up Friday, I'm going to say it could be a conference issue. Like, you should probably do one set, just train the house down. Energy, go, let's stop start. And if they make a mistake, that's fine, but get the comments to move again, get the flow going, get the concept going, and then start to identify a couple of key points. Just go back to the drill.
Exactly.
What we do, we go back to the most boring stop, start, reset, structured. The kids going, mate, I'm shat. Yeah, we know we got beaten on Friday. Maybe it's confidence. Let's just train. That's what we used to do. Sometimes we just trained. People say to me, well, I said, don't worry about that. Just train. Let's just see what happens. And we might just naturally be accountable and it just comes, and you might fix your flaws without thinking about it.
Yeah.
So we let it go a little bit longer. Just train.
Yeah.
And then be technical.
And I think that's half the battle with coaching and with a team, and especially with this winning mindset that we brought in, is after a loss, how do you get back on the horse and keep going? And I think a lot of what we did was, let's not focus on it and what specifically we can fix, but what's actually our strengths, and let's get the confidence back on a Monday night at training to what we are and what we can do and how we can play. And then leading up to the next week, to the next game. And usually you'd probably get a win because you're going in there confident. You're not going in there kind of tentative because of what happened last week.
Yeah,
well, I remember, it's not scout. I'm not against scout, but we focus on a couple of players. So I said to my boys, I'm not worried about play A, B, and C. I'm worried about all of them. I've seen a 12-man come on and shoot 4 threes before.
Yeah.
That's not part of the scout report. I remember someone, he's an arrogant coach too, and walked up to my son. He said, do you want to run our scout report? Well, fool you, mate. Wasn't on the scout report.
Yeah.
Because we had 8 to 10 players that could do anything upside down, and he turned them upside down. That time we're getting smashed one game. We got them back. And so sometimes you just got to know, are you over-focusing on one thing?
Yeah.
Or do we focus on what we can do better? My theory is if we can focus on what we can do better, the other team has to adjust. That's how I look at it. Doesn't matter, right?
It's good.
All right, we happy?
Yeah, mate.
Very.
21 is down and out. Guys, we just love chatting.
We back.
We're back. It's going to be a two-week break. Daz is out and about for a bit. So we'll be back in a couple of weeks, unless we do one from where we are. I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'll do that. Actually, I might do a bit of an update where I'm at, where I'm going to be and why I'm there. We'll do a bit of an update. All right. Good job. Love you guys. Hope you're well. Thanks, Si. Good to see you as always. I do miss you guys. You know that?
Yeah.
You and the rest of the crew.
Yeah.
And all the other crews I've been a part of. So stay safe, stay well, stay strong. Even COVID is out. The tough times are coming. There's some more pain coming.
Yeah.
Reach out. Don't be scared to open up and let people in. The more we know, the more we can help. All right, guys. We are out and about. Take care. We're done.
See you guys. Take care.
See you guys.